Hi, buddy. My name is Jack. I'm an alcoholic. I want to thank God for keeping me sober today, and I thank the program of Alcoholics Anonymous and my sponsor. And I have to say that because he's here. Come on, wouldn't you? Blowing on your beak. Comes out scrambled eggs. Wow. I can relate to that. And I also want to welcome the newcomers, John and whoever stood up, Sandy. Just got to meet a new friend tonight, and got a couple old friends here. You know, it's amazing. You hang around for a little while, and you get to see people you haven't seen in a while. I got my friend Harold and Marty in the back, and it's Greg, who I hadn't expected to see him. And I have people that are glad to see me today. I came in with a buddy of mine who used to own the gin mill that I used to hang out in. And now he's got 15 months or so sober, and what the hell had a chance of that, you know? What it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. What it was like, I'm an Irish Catholic, so you know what it was like. I drank, I used, I fell down, I drank, I used, I fell down. I drank, I used, I fell down. I'm the youngest of 8 from Irish Catholic family. Mom and Dad were just regular people, no alcoholism. In my immediate, you know, I found out later on that my grandparents had some alcoholism there. I don't have that story where you get to hear about any abuse as a kid. I wasn't abused as a kid. I was pretty fortunate in that respect. Most of my abuse came later on, and most of it was inflicted by myself. I moved out here. I was on the fire department in New York City for 10 years, and firemen like to have a few, you know, and I joined in, but I really didn't start tailspin until I came out here. I moved from the Bronx, New York, to Hermosa Beach. You probably all thought I'm a kind of a Hermosa Beach kind of guy, you know? Surfer, you know? So I'd hang 10 on the end of the bar, you know? And I drank Jack Daniels and beer, and I did some cocaine. Okay, and from drinking and using about here in 1988, 87, and I had a heart attack from drinking and using cocaine 6 months after I came out here, and it happened on a Thursday, and I went in and had what's called an angioplasty. I always hear, it's like the angioplasty club, you know. That's when they take anybody doesn't know what that is, that's they take a wire hanger, they stick it up through your yin-yang, you know, and they come around and try to open up a bubble in your heart. And if you have nothing to do on a Thursday, you run in there and let them have to do that stuff to you. It's kind of fun. And so being a good alcoholic and a cocaine addict, I wanted to do this quick, you know, I was busy, I had things to do. So this happened on a Thursday, and I asked him, come on, let's get it done, because so I came out on that the following Monday. That was quick, I was busy. And when I come out, first thing I did is I drank some Jack Daniels that I still had at the house, and I used some of the cocaine that I had left there. So I really deserve, this is where I belong. This is where I belong. And I went into a recovery down at South Bay Hospital. And I met a guy named John Murphy there, an Irish guy, 65 years old. Had been fighting alcoholism for 36 years. And he had been sober 6 years when he came back in. And he confided in me one night. This guy was a wonderful guy, and I get to give this away now because it was freely given to me. And I get to give it to anybody who'll listen. Because if I get to give it to you, then it's yours. John Murphy told me that he had drank 2 bottles of aftershave. So I said, what kind? Seemed reasonable to me, didn't it? You know? And he said he was an Aqua Velva man. God's honest truth. It's funny as it is. And I've been known to embellish occasionally. And so we smacked each other twice and said, thanks, I needed that and all that. That silly stuff, you know? And then he said to me now, and then he said, you just have to change one thing. I was like, oh, great, man, I could change. Me? Jack McGee, I could change. He says, you have to change one thing. I said, what's that? He says, everything. So I knew right off the bat that he wasn't my friend, you know. And then he says to me, Jack, I'm going to tell you something that somebody told me a long time ago. And I'm going to say it once to you, and you're going to have that dopey look on your face that I had on my face when the guy told me. And I'm going to wait a second or two, and then I'm going to say it to you again, slowly, and it's going to stay with you for the rest of your life, you know. And she says, and then it's yours, you know. And I was like, all right. And she said, are you ready? And I'm like, you know, like any good alcoholic, I'm like, come on, let's get it over with. You know, I got things to do. I got to take my meds before they put me to bed, you know. And he said to me, are you ready? I said, yeah. And he said to me, if nothing changes, nothing changes. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So that was the gift that John Murphy gave to me. And I did not stay sober then. I had some other stuff I had to do. I wasn't ready to surrender. And for all those years, 6, 7 years after that, when I went out there and used, those words haunted me, you know. And I'd be like, that rat bastard, you know. That Irish bastard doing that to me. How could John Murphy do that to me, you know? And it was well after, sometimes I remember those words, well after Bob Barker had given away his last gift on The Price is Right. Morning TV, sweating, you know, the blinds down, and can't pick the phone up because, well, it wasn't working. You'd have to have paid your phone bill for that to happen. And the surrender came for me outside of a place called Molly Malone's on Fairfax and 6th. I love the groans that come when I mention Molly Malone's. And this is part of my story, and I'm sticking to it. I have a friend of mine who's a musician, and I had sang a couple of tunes with some of the boys at Molly Malone's that night. It was 2:30 in the morning, and I saw his brake lights go on when he passed. I was like, oh, man, here we go again. I'm going to have to listen to this guy lecture me, you know. Nothing worse than getting lectured. You get lectured by one of your friends, you know. And sure enough, when he got out of the car, he threw up his arms and he says to me, when are you going to stop? You know? And then he said to me, boy, you look like shit. And I remember saying to him, you should see what it looks like from in here. And that was on July 5th, 1995. And that was it. I don't know how it happened. That was it. I was done. I was done. And I started doing some of the stuff around here that you guys and girls suggested. You know, I didn't just open up have the book there and lay in there, and you know, and it wasn't just a coaster. You know, I actually read the book. You know, and read it a little bit more, and then I went to big book studies and I listened. You know, I'm not a good reader. I didn't read when I was a kid, you know. I'm one of those kids that just, my head was busy with ideas, so I was okay in school and did enough to get by, but I really didn't want to do the work. And I realized that if something didn't happen, if I didn't change something, nothing was going to change. Thank you, John Murphy, you know. And I say that and I laugh now, you know, and that's, and I kid about that, but I believe that John Murphy was put in my life by God. It may not have worked right then. I really believe that. And I see the amount of people that stood up tonight as taking chips. And I see the fellow who brought his young boy up here to help him give those chips out. And to see that young guy jump off this stage and jump up into people's arms. And you're going to tell me there's not a God? You know, there's a God. Because I have I have one now. I have one now that helps me surrender every day. You know, I was the kind of guy who used to. There were two doors, you know, and the one guy would look at the two doors, and he'd go into the door on the left-hand side, and somebody would crack him upside the head with a baseball bat, and he'd get down for the count, and then he'd get up again, and then he'd look at both doors, and there was another door, so he took that other door, and you'd never see him again. Well, I was the kind of guy who would get through the door on the left, get hit in the head with a baseball bat, and get up, and then I'd shake it off. I'd look at both doors, and I'd go over to the left, and I'd go to that door again, and I'd get hit in the head with the baseball bat, and I'd get up again, and I'd look at both doors, and I said, oh, that guy went over there, and nothing happened to him, and I'd go to that door to the left again, you know? Why are you laughing? And I'd get through that door, and the guy with the baseball bat wasn't there. I went looking for him. I went looking for him. And that day on July 5th, I believe that that was the day that somebody said, you know, and it became clear, hey, there's another door. And I got to believe that was John Murphy, God. I mean, there's God, you know, I think there's God in all of us. And I don't get, I never thought in a million years I'd hear myself getting into that mushy deal, you know. God, you know. And I get to use that today, you know. I have a guy that I don't call quite enough, as much as I should. And I know he loves me. Every time I call him, he's glad to hear from me, you know. And I get to meet guys like Joe, who are down in Sober Club Med, who takes my number and actually remembers to call, you know. And my life is pretty full today. And I got to tell you, if I surrender on a daily basis, and I can finally say to that friend of mine, Tony, who I met outside of Molly Malone's, you should see what it looks like from in here now. It's a world of difference. This past January, I got diagnosed with colon cancer, you know, and it's the greatest thing that ever happened in my life. Because I went and got it taken care of. I went through chemotherapy, and let me tell you something. We hadn't reconnected then, but there were about 80 people that came through that hospital in the 3.5 days that I was there, and they were all from the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. And nobody from Molly Malone's came. You know, I got a call from the guy, my friend, who owns Molly Malone's, and it was the greatest gift in the world to find out that he had surrendered and come into this program as well. I have friends here now. I have people that I can look out, and I don't know you people. You know, we all come in different shapes, different sizes, you know, different backgrounds, different colors, you know, and the common denominator is that we got brave enough to ask for some help. And I feel like I'm a blessed man, so thank you very, very much for having me.